10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Right, everybody, how are we all doing? It's Tuesday, the 12th of July. I'm Sam, this is United People's TV. I'm here with the latest and greatest Manchester United transfer news. And I tell you what, it's going to be a bumper show today. Things really are just heating up. All the hobs are on full heat right now. That's a crap analogy. But we're going to be talking about De Jong after major developments yesterday with Richard Arnold and John Murtough, both in Barcelona. I covered that in a video yesterday. Also this morning, geez, I was up early. I covered all the training in another sort of pre-season look ahead of today's game against Liverpool that kicks off at 2 p.m. But before that, we've got to talk about De Jong. We've got to talk about Lisandro Martinez, the latest on Cristiano Ronaldo. Maybe the fact that we're looking at his replacement, Sasa Kaladzic. And anybody who's watched my replacements video for Ronaldo will know that was, I think, the first name I actually mentioned. Sometimes I know what I'm talking about. But it's a stacked show. And this morning at 7 a.m., the new podcast went out with Steve McLaren's son, Josh. And if I can say, really fantastic chat. I encourage you to listen to it. It's just me and Josh. It's a really good conversation. That's what it is. There's a lot of insight. And just, I like it. I think you'll like it too. So I've left the link. Let me drop the link in the comments here for everybody on Facebook too, because I don't think I left it on Facebook. Sorry. Anybody's watching on Facebook or YouTube, the link is there. But good morning to every single one of you down here. Charlie, Daisy, I can see you there. Ephraim. We've got Nilanjan, Joda, Simon, Sunwa, Raman. I like ramen noodles. Jonesy, Crowther, or game. Tons of you. Absolutely tons of you. Good morning to every single one of you. It really is full tilt right now in Manchester United. And today we got our first game of the Erik Ten Hag era against Liverpool of all teams in Bangkok. I'm excited to watch it. You're excited to watch it. I'll be here after the game with my match reaction on it. No one won't be doing a watch along. No, you won't ever get me doing a watch along. You know where to get those because you're not going to be getting them from me. But yeah, as I said, to begin with, please, if you would, ladies and gents, follow that link. Go listen to the podcast. If you do enjoy the podcast, make sure you leave a 5-star review. It makes a big, big difference to me. It makes a big, big difference to the podcast. And the podcast is something I'm very, very proud of. It's something I've waited for a long time to launch. And now it's out. And as I said this morning, already, this video went out. The latest in this preseason series I've been running. And I've said it before as well. I'm so happy that it's these videos that are doing well. Videos that I consider really insightful, really informed, instead of just loud and shouty. It's nice when good content like that rises to the top. Makes me want to do more of it. And it seems you're enjoying it. I'll keep doing more of it. So thank you very much, everyone, for supporting those videos. But that's a good one. Yesterday was the open training session, and we got the greatest insight into Erik Ten Hag, his methods. He's like a drill master. If anybody's seen Full Metal Jacket, kind of a little bit like that guy there. Well, not quite the same as that. Full Metal Jacket. I need to watch that again soon. Great game. Great film. It's about what you're saying down here, saying thanks for the content, man. I just realized how much my day revolves around finding time to catch up with you. Cheers, you're back. And as I said, cheers to everybody. All your support that you're giving me is making me want to do more and more of it. And that's why I'm putting so much effort and time into it. And I think the quality is there. Matt, you're saying Steve McLaren's the elephant in the room. People will sleep on how good he actually is. Now, of course, Josh, just in case Josh is listening, of course, Josh is going to be a little bit biased towards his dad in Steve. But hearing that conversation and the insight from Josh in sort of just watching his dad and his whole career and the energy that he's saying he's come back to Manchester United with. So really, I think you'll enjoy the conversation. But yeah, check out the podcast. Check out that training video from this morning. But let's jump into the De Jong and Martinez transfer news. You see with the title of the video, I said that the double deal is close, man. I have maintained the entire way through that I felt Frenkie de Jong to Manchester United. Not that it was inevitable, but it certainly felt a case of when and not if at one point. I'll be honest, the deferred wages put a massive roadblock there, massive speed bump that I didn't really know how you got over it. And I still don't actually know how you get over that. How those deferred wages are paid, when those deferred wages are paid, and also who pays them. Big question still. But this update yesterday, when we had confirmation that Richard Arnold and John Murtough were both in Barcelona, that was a big update. Now, if it was just John Murtough, I mean, it would still be a big update to have our football director there, but it's our CEO. It's like if you're in any job and your CEO turns up for a meeting that's in a different country, you know shit's going down. Richard Arnold is only there because we're at the final stages. The final conversations are being had, and we know what that revolves around. The 65 million upfront fee, that's already been done. That's been done for quite a long time. The add-ons, we don't know whether that's been completely agreed or not, or there are reports actually from yesterday, from Spain, which I will cover. But man, it's absolutely crazy at the moment. I'm trying to cover it as best I possibly can. And by the sounds of it, someone is down there. Josh Povey, you are a G. Josh Povey handing out 5 gifted memberships. What an absolute gent. The generosity in this community really is continuing to blow me away. I think it's a testament to the community that's being built. It's a genuine community. I think there are a lot of people that say the word community, and it's not really that much of a community. I think this really genuinely is, and I can only see it getting bigger and better. So thank you very much, Josh, and for everybody who continues to do that. But yeah, Arnold, your CEO being there is a good sign. It's a very, very good sign. And turns out he was there last week as well. So 2 weeks in a row that Arnold has been there. And some people were like, Richard Arnold said that he wouldn't be getting involved in transfers. He's just turning into another Woodward. I'm like, fucking hell. You really are trying to find things wrong, aren't you? No, Richard Arnold being there is a good thing. Richard Arnold being in Barcelona is definitely a good thing for Manchester United's pursuit of Frenkie de Jong. Now, Simon Stone from the BBC covered it and said, look, they're there to break that impasse. And we know what that is about. It's all to do with the deferred wages. The problem centers on wages. De Jong, and this is the thing, De Jong's not going to be leaving Barcelona given what he feels is owed. And neither would you. And I've said this before. The numbers might be huge for Frenkie de Jong, given it's like 17 million euros. But if you had deferred 65% of your wages in your job for the last 2 years, and somebody came along and offered you a new job, even if you liked the boss of the new company, and you kind of knew a couple of people there, you wouldn't just piss off, and you wouldn't just turn your back on 65% of your wages from the last 2 years, right? It just wouldn't happen. So that's why this impasse is there. Now, Frenkie de Jong, he returned to training yesterday. Barcelona trying to get some sort of positive propaganda out, which I found quite hilarious. But he's back, and yesterday was that big development day. Frenkie de Jong returned to training. Richard Arnold and John Murtough were both in Barcelona. Things really started to move quite a lot yesterday. And let me make sure that this is up properly. I don't know why this website keeps reloading. Let me just get this done and ready for you quickly. 1 second there. But yeah, I'll pull this up on screen in the meantime, and you can get your comments in. For some reason, the Mundo Deportivo website, cheeky as it is, it permanently refreshes. You can't leave a window open because they want more ads. So they automatically refresh the website. So even if you're nice and prepared, they don't let you be nice and prepared. Let's pull this up here. This was the latest from Mundo Deportivo on the Frenkie de Jong situation. And I covered it all, majority in the video yesterday. And this is the Barcelona message for Frenkie de Jong. He met and spoke with Xavi, Mathieu, Alemany, and Jordi Cruyff before the pre-season training began yesterday. And they are the people, of course, that Richard Arnold and John Murtough met. And there's a couple of key sort of pull-out quotes here, and I'll bring them to you. Look. Before his first training session, he met with Xavi, Mathieu, and Jordi, who explained to him in person the situation and the options he has to continue at Barca. And we know what the options are, but we know that he's not going to be taking them, right? This website is... there are some really crap websites. There really are. And I'll be honest, this is one of them. Ads overload, and it doesn't allow you to actually read the content properly. Anyway, this thing here, and it's been reiterated since day one. The other option for de Jong to stay is if he accepts a significant salary cut that the player and his agent do not contemplate. Frenkie de Jong, simply put, will not be taking a pay cut to stay at Barcelona. He's already taken a significant pay cut to help them through the storm. And what have they done? They've rewarded him by not paying those wages. Well, not that they haven't paid those wages because they're supposed to be paid over the next few years. But in this situation where he finds himself stuck between a rock and a hard place, because the club has now turned their back on effectively the deal that he agreed with them, because they now want to sell him. So therefore, they've got to change that and get those wages paid to him. And how and still that's done, I'll be honest, I don't know yet. I really don't know, but that's exactly why Arnold and Murto were there, to get through those details. Adnan, you joined. Let me know where you're watching from, fella. But there's a couple of sort of contrasting reports on the fee. You got Oriol Dominic, who is I wouldn't say he's a massively reliable Spanish journalist, but sometimes he gets it right, sometimes he gets it wrong. He's one of those. He's saying that Man United and Barcelona have closed a deal for De Jong, totaling 85 million euros. But then you've got Fabrizio Romano, who's waded in this morning with the exact opposite, saying De Jong deals never collapsed, but no changes. Still no green light. 65 plus 20, we know that. Frenkie's priority is to stay at Barca, and it's not just that. It's not just a case anymore of simply saying, "Oh, Frenkie wants to stay at Barca. Oh, he loves it so much." Frenkie wants his wages. That's why he won't turn his back on Barcelona. But I think yesterday was a major update, and we really are getting towards that. I know we've waited so long, right? We've waited so long, but you'll remember that I didn't get caught up in the hype of what Joan Laporta was saying, Barcelona's president. I didn't come here and shout that the De Jong deal was off, because I said, do you understand what a politician is? I know that there's we know this idea of spin, and it's been pushed as this like, oh, that's just be careful. Spin, right? And this is the hilarious part of it, right? Listening to what Joan Laporta has been saying as a politician and then presenting that as the truth is you listening to the spin, because your platform now becomes a tool that Laporta's just used to switch the narrative. So it's the height of irony to accuse anybody of spin, but to then be the biggest cog in the spinning wheel. Joan Laporta met with Manchester United the day after he said, "Oh, he's not for sale." I mean, come on. That's all it is. That's all this has been. It's been a political public power play by Barcelona to try and sell the player. Oh, but we're not selling him, but we are selling him. He's not for sale, but let's chat tomorrow because he is for sale. I haven't got caught up in that. And I've tried my hardest to not let you get caught up in that. Look, as you say down there's a comment there saying, look, they're not to be trusted. They're really not. They're absolutely not to be trusted. But this deal now, it feels good, man. Right now, it feels good. Of course, the deferred wages are this anomaly, which I don't think I've ever seen before. And I'm not sure we'll ever actually see again because of it was the coronavirus. It was an isolated situation in that sense. I don't know how we get past that. But it seems like Manchester United want it done this week. That's why Arnold is out there. And it should be done, right? The deal is there to be made. And Barcelona have told Frenkie de Jong on the first day back in training saying, look, man, economically, we're going to sell you. All right? When the offer comes in, you're going to be sold. And he's been told that in training. He's not going to take a pay cut. And they want the money. The only way out of it is De Jong leaving Barcelona and coming to Manchester United. And I know that I might sound like a hypocrite by saying, I only want players who want to play for Manchester United. It's important that we move away from these signings X, Y, Z. And I've always maintained since day one, there is a very big difference in Frenkie de Jong not wanting to leave Barcelona and Frenkie de Jong wanting to join Manchester United. He doesn't want to leave Barcelona. He's happy there. He's committed. He thought he was going to spend his career there probably. But Barcelona has screwed it all up for him. And now he has to leave. Isa, nice to see you there joining as a member, my friend. Let me know where you're watching from. I'll try and give you a shout out. Josh, my man, thank you very much for helping this community grow. Really, really fantastic. Chris, you're saying such a snake Barca is refused to pay De Jong his wages, but lining up Rafinha and Lewandowski. Yeah, man, like, imagine being De Jong just sitting there going, you dicks. You're literally about to sign a winger for like 70 million euros. You're about to spend like 40 million euros on somebody who's like 30, what is he, 33, 34? Don't know. Old striker. And he can't pay me my wages that I'm legally, contractually owed. Nice. But you love me. You absolutely love me. You don't want me to leave the club. Nah. I told you, at some point, De Jong's mindset has probably switched. And if it hasn't been his mindset is switched, it has to be his agent's job to make sure that's switched, because it's not a good situation. So I would expect, I'm not saying that I expect a deal to be done by this week, right? But we're at the final stages. We're at the crescendo, right, of the opera, if you want to call it that, because it has been a fucking soap opera, hasn't it? We're at the point now. This week we are going to find out. It's either yes and De Jong, and we get it done finally, or it is a no, and that he will take that pay cut and stay at the club. But we all know full well De Jong's not doing that. And we all know full well that De Jong is not staying at Barcelona without that pay cut. So there really is, I'll be honest, no other solution. And I can't wait for it to happen. I really, really cannot. As I said, I back and I support Manchester United's insistence on Frenkie de Jong here, because I understand just how significant a signing he is for Erik Ten Hag. It's not just a midfield signing, and it's something I've tried to sort of explain in a lot of detail. Jacob, nice to see you there joining as well, my friend. That Clark, you saying, look, sounds like a toxic relationship you're describing there, Sam. Absolutely gaslighting Barca. It's horrible, man. I've told you, like, Frenkie de Jong has done nothing but the right thing by that club. From joining them, for the work he's put in. No one's ever said a bad word about Frenkie de Jong's work ethic, his training, how he's presented himself. Any fan will not speak badly of him. He helped the club, 10% reduction on wages on every single Barcelona player in the first year of the coronavirus. Then he took a significant pay cut for 2 years, 65% of the wages he gave back, and said, look, I know you haven't got the money at the moment, but I love the club and I want the club to thrive. And instead of that being reciprocated, Barcelona have just, they've shanked him right in the back and then run away from it and said, it wasn't us. It wasn't us. We didn't do anything. Really, really, really horrendous football club. Horrendous. Because if they had done that to someone that doesn't have the character of Frenkie de Jong, you think, oh, sometimes that maybe they deserve it. De Jong does not. And that relationship soured. Absolutely soured. And I hope for his sake that it doesn't turn into a legal dispute. Because if he joins Manchester United and he has to take Barcelona to court over those deferred wages, that's something that's going to hang over his head for a long, long time, because it will not be sorted very, very shortly. Handy, I don't think you, honestly, anybody who doesn't think that he's going to be, I don't know. I don't want to explain it just yet, because I don't want to let myself think about it too much. But De Jong is far more than just a midfield signing for Manchester United and for Erik Ten Hag. And anything that Ten Hag's going to be doing gets accelerated. De Jong is the rocket that changes it and steers the direction of it. I'm going to leave it on that, right? Because I don't know, I feel like I'm going on a little bit too much about it. But it's a big, big update there in Arnold and Murto being in Barcelona. Man United, we're confident that we can get that deal done now. Maybe not as confident as we are with the Martinez situation, which I'll run into next, but we're confident we can get that deal done. There's only two solutions here. He joins Manchester United, or he takes a pay cut to stay at Barcelona, and he will not be taking that pay cut. Therefore, let's find out when that first solution is reached. I know it's been exhausting. I've tried to cover it as accurately as I possibly can throughout the whole process. I've tried not to do a daily update, 2-3 times a daily update, because I know you get frustrated by it. I get frustrated by it too. But I think I've covered it pretty well. Well, I think so anyway. But yeah, I know, Billy, you're down there and saying, look, reports that the deal is done. Yeah, I've covered those here. They're coming from Oriel Dominic over there, but we're not going to jump on that until we hear it from the likes of Ornstein or Romano, because at that point you're feeding the hype train. But look, De Jong, I think it's going to get done. Might have egg on my face. I've said that and I've maintained that for a long, long time. I just hope we do. I really, really do. Now, moving on to the next target, and that's Lisandro Martinez. And I'll be honest, I think they've been greedy here. I think Ajax have been pretty damn greedy with what's going on. They asked for 50 million, we offer 50 million, and now they want 55 to 60 million. Ajax are willing to negotiate. And by the way, that price dropped an extra, what was it, a day before Mike Vivage said, oh yeah, Ajax, they want 60 million. And now they want 55, 60 million. Ajax have played a game here, and they haven't got what they wanted. Ajax's game was to sit back on their lazy boy, crack open a beer, and watch Arsenal and Manchester United go into a bidding war for Lisandro Martinez. But Mikel Arteta watched my video and realised there really is no point Arsenal wasting their time on Martinez. Because if he's going to leave Ajax, which he is going to leave Ajax, he's going to come to Manchester United. And I did that video with utter confidence last weekend. I was just like, honestly, I don't understand why Arsenal are wasting their time. I really don't. And all of a sudden, since then, their interest has been muted. It almost, like, sometimes I know what I'm talking about. Only sometimes, though. But you've got here Mike Vivage, who's, of course, our tier 1 from Holland, saying they're ready to negotiate. They've always been ready to negotiate. And Fabrizio Romano this morning saying, look, Manchester United are now feeling confident on the deal for Lisandro Martinez. Ajax are open to discuss the fee. New contacts expected very soon, with Lisandro pushing again to leave the club this summer. I covered all of that in an update on that yesterday, and I've done it again this morning. Martinez wants Manchester United. He wants to leave Ajax, and he wants to come to the Premier League, and there is no better choice or better option than for him to come with Erik Ten Hag. Now, there's a comment down there from Joachim, and this is the thing, of course, and that is why they're in this position. And honestly, I don't particularly... I completely understand why Ajax are doing this. I just think it's poor form. They should have... Effectively, they put that price tag on Lisandro Martinez because they're like, well, no one's going to come in and meet that. 50 million euros. They only paid 7 million euros, remember, for Martinez. We came in, they're like, bollocks. Have we underpriced that? It's like you put a price on the housing market and someone comes in the next day and puts in a full offer. You're like, shit. Should we have put an extra 10 grand on that? Damn it. We missed out on something there. That's what they've done here. That's what Ajax have done, right? They expected the bidding war. They expected it to go higher than the asking price because Ajax and United were going to do that themselves. Then Manchester United, we went in with 50. Arsenal disappeared and they didn't get what they wanted. And the only way they can do that now is by digging their heels in. And let's be completely honest, Ajax will get this. It might not be reflecting very well on Ajax. I don't think so anyway. But they'll get an extra 5 million out of Manchester United. Somewhere. Maybe it's the fact that that 50 million that we've offered isn't all guaranteed. It's 45 million guaranteed plus 5 million add-ons. Their argument might be, well, we always meant 50 million guaranteed plus 5 million add-ons. And that will be something that gets done, right? Baz, what are you saying down here? You're saying, look, Stan, to be honest, I don't know why my club Ajax is doing this to move the goalpost so suddenly. The only explanation is Overmars is gone and the new guy has to learn the game better. As I said, I do not begrudge. I don't begrudge Ajax for doing this because your team's been torn apart this year. It's not just Ten Hag and it's not just Mitchell van der Gag leaving and it's not just Sebastian Haller or Ryan Gravenberch or Mazraoui or probably Tagliafico. It's everybody. It's all together. And now Martinez in it too. I don't think Anthony will be leaving. I've sort of explained my situation on that. I don't blame them for it. And Alfred Schroeder, your new manager's coming in going, Jesus, what have I got? I've got nobody. I've got nothing. But that's why I understand it. It's just that if you put a price on a player and somebody comes in for it, and then you go, no, actually, we change your mind, it's a bit odd. As I said, you're right there. It kind of strikes me as somebody who you don't really have a full grasp of the situation. Maybe someone's in his ear going, should have asked for more. And now they're doing that. But as I said, Ajax, at the end of the day, you're probably going to get it. You will get a little bit more out of Manchester United, and we will get the player. As Fabrizio was saying there, Manchester United confident that deal will get done, and I'm confident about it as well. I've had more confidence about the Martinez deal than I have really about any other transfer that's been happening this summer, right? Because I know that we've got Erik Ten Hag. And it's Erik Ten Hag that's given me that confidence in signing Lisandro Martinez, He's given me the confidence in thinking if Ten Hag wasn't our manager, we wouldn't even be in for Frenkie de Jong. But that's what happens when you got a manager who you really can believe and trust in. And that's what we find. That's what we've got now. And with the players that we're bringing in. Chin, let me know where you're watching from, buddy. What you're saying down here. So let me read one of your comments out. We should just give the extra 5 mil for goodwill, rebuild the Ajax bridge and keep it strong. I'm sure we will do business with them again. And mate, as I said, I know what you're saying, that business ultimately is not driven by emotion. So that probably won't be part of the conversation. But Ajax expected the bidding war and didn't get the bidding war they wanted. They misjudged the situation and thought Arsenal were really going to come in and compete with Manchester United. Whereas the reality was, and it was quite easy for me to see, so I don't really know how Ajax didn't see it, Arsenal were just going to pull away as soon as Manchester United really came up. And Daisy, look, 60, I wouldn't say that 60 is ridiculous and 55 is so much less ridiculous. I mean, they're both high prices. They really are both high prices. But it's something that we need to get done this summer. I would rather, of course, just like you are, ultimately, I don't give a shit how much we pay for players as long as we sign the right ones. Ultimately, it's not my money. I mean, kind of technically, season tickets and all that. But as long as we get who we need, I don't particularly care how much we pay for those players. It's just that we get bogged down into the details because that's what transfers are these days. But look, Sanjay getting angry in the comments here with big capital letters. Anybody, by the way, it's probably the last time I'll read one of these. Anybody who fires in loads of capital letters in any super chats or any conversations, I ignore them because it feels like you're shouting at me, and I don't want to read comments out that feel like they're so much more important that they deserve capital letters. All right, that's what I'll say. As Isaac, you're saying we've got to pay for the right characters and attributes that our boss needs. We know that as well. And Dixon, what are you saying? That's a new name down there. De Jong's situation is becoming annoying. The guy says he wants to remain in Barca, so why can't we move on? I've explained that before. I'll explain it again as well. It's because De Jong, there is no alternative that ticks all the boxes like De Jong has. All right, and I've explained that in quite a lot of detail. Whew, man, I don't know. It's been a mad few weeks covering everything, but still, we haven't really got it done. And we are sitting right now. This is about to explode. July, it's going to explode at Manchester United. Pre-season kicks off today. I'm going to be running through a little bit of update on Cristiano Ronaldo from Duncan Castles, the man who originally broke the news, who I thought, he's chatting shit, but he wasn't. So I've got to read his update from the Times. Speak about Sasa Kaladzic, maybe a replacement for Ronaldo. And also, we're going to talk about my predicted 11. And we're going to run through a tactical board of who we should expect to see play today. Because that game kicks off at 2. And I won't be here with a watch-along. As I say, you'll never get a watch-along with me on United People's TV. But I'll have my match reaction straight after. And before I quickly do move on, I'll say one more time, because lots and lots of you are joining in now. Love to see how many people are watching. And anybody, if you haven't already watched it, can you please go and listen to the podcast? This week, we've got Josh McLaren, Steve McLaren's son, on the podcast. A really open and honest and insightful conversation for an hour with Josh. Gives us real insight into what's going on behind the scenes, how Steve has reacted to being back at the club. And we have quite a big in-depth chat because Josh is a very intelligent bloke. And he's a sports psychologist. So we spoke about the psychology of a winning culture. I think it was a really fantastic thing to do. I think so. Brandon, I'll answer this one more time for anybody who, I've answered this a lot of times before. Literally the last thing in the world I want to do when I'm watching a game of United is for you to watch me. I don't agree with them whatsoever. I know that they serve a purpose for an audience that will never be able to go to the games. And it gives you a little bit of a closer-knit community that you love having part of. But that's Mark Goldbridge. That's his thing. And that's what's made the channel successful for him. You're never going to get me doing it. I disagree with him. I don't like them. I don't want to have a camera pointing towards me when I'm watching a game of footy. I want to sit there, soak it all up, and give my thoughts after. So it will never happen on United People's TV. And I absolutely stand by that. The Roofing Repair Guys has to be one of the best usernames on YouTube I've ever seen. I'd still rather have Lemar and Sangare as a duo than De Jong. We're not going after Sangare, but by the looks of it, we're not going after an actual central defensive midfielder, which I find a little bit strange. I've always found that strange this summer. Really, I really do. Ray, you're saying, how are you feeling now about the window? I'm feeling, Ray, exactly how I felt the whole way through. That at the end of this summer transfer window, we're all going to have a big smile on our faces. It's just that coming through the process, it's been painful. It's not been the best, is it? Watching it all. But I still stand by the fact that by the end of it, we're going to be happy. Now, something I don't actually know, right, is whether or not Cristiano Ronaldo is going to be part of it. Was it last week? I said I felt like I had a real confidence that Ronaldo said, yeah, well, there's pretty much no chance he stays now. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong on that one. We've got, as I said, Paul Hurst and Duncan Castles here saying that we know what Erik Ten Hag said about Ronaldo in his pre-match press conference. He said, look, he's not for sale. He's not going anywhere. He's part of the plans. It is what it is. And then we see down here, Manchester United's chief executive is working to persuade Ronaldo to withdraw his request to leave the club. Richard Arnold is understood to have impressed Ronaldo's camp by the manner in which he has handled his wish to leave. On the one hand, Arnold's been sympathetic to Ronaldo's discontent. On the other hand, he's underlined Ronaldo's importance to United and Ten Hag while accelerating the club's efforts to restructure a squad. Now, I'll be completely honest. I don't think this has got anything. I think this is probably a little bit of, not spin if you want to call it that, but a little bit of something to change the narrative, a little bit of PR. I think if Chelsea wanted Cristiano Ronaldo, this article wouldn't be out there. We probably wouldn't be having this conversation. I think we'd all know that Ronaldo would be leaving. But I think Ronaldo and Mendes misgauged their possibilities outside of Manchester United. It seems like Chelsea aren't going to go for him. I think they really banked on that. And therefore, the options really aren't there for Ronaldo. Bayern Munich aren't going to go after him. Juventus don't want him back. Juventus won't be able to afford to bring him back. Real Madrid aren't going to go in for him. There's just not many options for Ronaldo outside of Manchester United because of the name he is and because of the wages that he commands. I think had he had an offer somewhere, I think it would be done and dusted. But I think, as I said, Ronaldo and Mendes have misgauged the situation in the same way that Ajax misread that room with Arsenal and Manchester United expecting the bidding war. I think Ronaldo and Mendes might have misunderstood that situation with Ronaldo and potential clubs that he could go to. So I think there's actually a real chance now of him staying at Manchester United simply through a lack of options. Now, I don't like that. And I think that's now going to be an elephant in the room unless Ronaldo comes out and explains himself. If he stays at the club, I would love him to come out and explain himself. For him to say, look, I had to question the ambition of the club, and every single fan be like, well, fuck me. Like, good. I know. I question it as well. But if Ronaldo sort of goes for the Pogba approach and stays silent and just sits there, there will just be questions asked about the fractures inside that dressing room. And there'll be a Ronaldo circus that I don't want this year. I've told you, like 90% of the questions at that press conference were all about Ronaldo. Every journalist chasing the best headline from Ten Hag on Ronaldo because that's what they wanted. Didn't offer us any real insight. They could have asked about, Ten Hag. I was trying to think about the question I would ask Ten Hag at that press conference. I think what I would do is Ten Hag used to be a defensive midfielder. He used to play in that role. So I'd try and get some insight from him into what he's expecting from that position at Manchester United and who he sees fitting inside that role. Because technically Fred or McTominay or Garner, or if you're going crazy, Van der Beek could technically play in that role, although he can't do it. And we all know how much we need that one. But instead, journalist sums up, what's going on with Ronaldo? Next journalist, I know you've just talked about Ronaldo, but can I ask another question on Ronaldo? Third journalist, he goes, look, I know you've just answered 2 questions on Ronaldo, but can I ask you another question on Ronaldo? And you're going to get the same response. You're going to get the same response. And it was poor. I would say it was poor journalism. I understand the necessity to ask it at the beginning, but then move on, man. Have your questions lined up. Look, Ronaldo is what Ronaldo is. We know that he is the greatest professional that this game will probably ever see. We know that his ambition is unrivaled and that for him to question the ambition of Manchester United is completely fair enough. But I think he might have misread the room in how many clubs would have wanted him. I think so anyway. Sam, can you tell Josh next time Harry should not be captain? Yeah, well, I didn't really. That kind of surprised me. I'll be completely honest. Surprised me that he announced that Harry Maguire would be staying on as captain straight away. I'm not going to be here. I'm not going to question my manager. Not at this point. I've got to trust in his process. But my process is a couple of years further down the line. And I know what Harry Maguire is and what Harry Maguire does. And I know how he acts on the pitch as a captain. And it's just not what I've seen. Harry Maguire surprised me. Make me look like a dick for the videos I did last year. Be more than happy to call myself out on those. When I did those videos, I stood by those videos. And I stand by what I said then. But Ten Hag's decided to keep him on as captain. And I say I'll be honest, I'm a little bit surprised at that. But also at the same time, who else is he really going to give it to? Well, we've had conversations about Bruno. We've had conversations about De Gea. We had conversations about that bloke there. Imagine he made Ronaldo captain, and all of a sudden this story came out. Johnny saying, any update on Eriksen's extended medical? It's exactly that. It's just an extended medical for Eriksen. There's nothing else we know at this particular moment in time. But at some point this week, we'll get the green light. And at some point this week, probably, if not the weekend, we will get the conversation and the green light and the thumbs up and hopefully the official announcement on Eriksen. It's a case of when, not if, as long as that medical goes okay, fingers crossed. But speaking about Ronaldo and Ronaldo potentially leaving, you know full well that I spoke about Sasa Kaladzic being identified as a potential replacement for him. Somebody who would be able to come to Manchester United from Stuttgart for a fee in the region of maybe 20 to 30 million. Very relatively cheap compared to what we could spend on a replacement for him. And maybe even just signing him if Ronaldo stays on, because then we've got an alternative up front. And I think Ronaldo would have, well, we need that, right? We need that. So Sasa Kaladzic, I'm not surprised to see that name coming up. He was being lined up as a potential replacement for Darwin Núñez at Benfica. And Bayern Munich and Dortmund have both been sniffing around, but apparently they're not interested in him at the moment. But look, I'm interested in that one. There's a comment there from CG saying, here, this is my rifle, this is my gun. That's a bit of Full Metal Jacket for you there. I don't know why, I just enjoyed that one. Maybe you listened to the start of it. But yeah, D. Willis, I know, yeah, he's very much target man. He's very much a striker, very much a numero 9, right? But it's interesting that these stories are starting to develop. Let's see how that changes. But United, no doubt, we need to go after attackers this season. This summer transfer window, Martinez and De Jong, there's your central midfielder, there's your centre-back. We need an attacker on top of that. And I don't think it's going to be Anthony. And I've maintained that for quite some time now. Before I quickly do move on, make sure you drop a like on the video. There's so many of you still watching. It's a popular show this morning. And so it should be, man. Things are moving in the right direction with United. We've all had to deal with the frustration. I hope we've dealt with it quite well. Last 2 weeks, I've really focused on the preseason rather than focusing purely and utterly on the transfers. We cover the news every morning. But like this morning, I released the latest in this preseason series I've been doing with the open training session that really gave us that insight into Erik Ten Hag. So make sure you check that out on the channel if you haven't already. And make sure you subscribe if you're new. Because I tell you what, Andreas Pereira is not a United player anymore. Go on, the boys. Now, that is good news. Not that I don't say that. It kind of sounds like an offensive thing to say, but geez, Fergie signed Pereira, man. Fergie brought him to the club and he was still here. And he's still only like 26, 27. Good luck at Fulham. Man United, we got 8 to 10 million euros for him. Happy days. Let's reinvest that this summer. But Andreas Pereira, the pre-season Pirlo. Just go and be like season-long Pirlo in the Premier League against City and Liverpool and Chelsea and Arsenal and just be shit against United. No, that's all I'm asking. Just be crap against United, all right? I'm sure you could do that. I'm sure you could do that. But look, good luck to him. But that's the sort of thing that we need to see this summer. I want to see Phil Jones coming next. I want to see Eric Bailly going as well. I don't think he's going to have a future with the club. I don't think he's happy enough to stay at Manchester United and fight for that spot because of the frustrations he's had for the last couple of years. And I don't really blame him. Navua saying, let's be honest, Ten Hag isn't able to pick a captain until he sees how they play and who actually leads out there. And that's exactly what I mean, Navua. That's why I'm surprised that he didn't just like divert away from that question. I expected the answer to that from that to be, look, I've only been here for a couple of weeks. I want to make my own call on the captain. I want to see these players play. I want to get to learn a little bit more before he came out and said that. But instead, he said, look, Harry Maguire's the captain. End of story. And that did surprise me a little bit. He's only been, remember, with Maguire for 1 week. 2 weeks preseason, but Maguire joined up in the second week because he, of course, had a little bit of a longer holiday after the international break. But look, today, we talked about transfers. We talked about Martinez. We talked about De Jong. We talked about Ronaldo, Kaladzic. We covered everything there. Now let's focus on the game that's coming up in just under 4 hours. As I said, it's a busy old day. I'm going to bring you the match reaction here on United People's TV after the game. No, you won't get the watch along. Doesn't matter how many times you ask. But this was a predicted 11 that I did. Oh, there's 2 of me on screen now. And this is the team I put out there. This is my predicted 11. Of course, it's going to be wildly wrong. Anybody who can get a preseason 11 correct, fair play to you. I said De Gea in goal with a back four of Wan-Bissaka, Shaw, Twanzebe and Lindelof. Midfield of McTominay, Garner and Van der Beek with the front three of Rashford, Garnacho and Martial. Now, it looks like we might be seeing something more along the lines of this. If you looked at all the training videos yesterday, you saw patterns that were being laid out. You saw personnel. It was like 8 against the 7, attack against defense. And it looks very much like we could be seeing this, right? Brandon, you're saying no watch along. I'm just saying I'm new to United People's TV. Look, fair enough, man. As I said, I'm not going to go at you for asking a question. It's just that a lot of people ask me that question. And the answer will always be the same. Has been the same for a long time now. As I said, I'm someone who's got certain principles and I want to stick to them. I stick to them in the content that I do, and I stick to them in the content I don't do. But look, the reason I went for the 4-2-3-1 is we know that is the basis of Erik Ten Hag's football. If we look at how Manchester United have been lining up in the preseason training there, the team that was attacking, I believe, had Dalot and Shaw as the 2 fullbacks. We don't know who the 2 centre-backs are going to be. That could be any number of players. But Harry Maguire's been sort of not playing particularly... Well, I think he's been playing with an injury. He did separate training yesterday, so I don't expect Maguire to start. So it could be any 2 centre-backs here. That's kind of by the by. But it's about this front 6, with Fred there on his own as an anchor, with Van der Beek and Bruno as 2 number 8s, and then Rashford, Sancho, and Martial as the front 3. What do you think about that? Right? And you're not wrong there. You're saying, look, I hate to bloody say it, but this could be a basketball score. Of course it could. We're on step 1 of the ladder against a team that is 5 years into it. Of course, it could be a basketball score today, but we have to stick to it. We have to try and learn and repeat these new patterns. Preseason results mean absolutely sweet FA. It's all about performances. It's all about getting better and better. So you can let me know what you think about this in the comments below. I'll try and read a few of your comments out. I apologize if I haven't read that many comments out today. It's been really, really busy. There's been so many big talking points. I've had to sort of get through it, and I haven't interacted as much. I apologize about that. Let me go down and read a few down here, though. It's like watching a match in a pub. You get distracted by talking. Always better watching at home. If you can't, you're talking about watch-alongs, yeah. I think everybody will get some minutes, right? Everybody will get minutes today. It will more than likely be 1 team for the first half and 7 or 8 changes for the second half. Good luck doing match ratings. I always hated doing that when I was writing the People's Person. Doing match rating for preseason games are exhausting. Absolutely exhausting. But you can let me know what you think about that. That was an interesting comment there I just saw. Sam saying, look, what is Fletcher doing in the coaching team, Sam? I thought he was designated to technical director. Sam, he was designated to technical director, but remember, we all said that Fletcher needs clarity on that role. If that clarity now is Fletcher being involved more in the coaching side and the training side, then that's going to be Fletcher's role. And that's Erik Ten Hag's decision to have him there. Therefore, I trust him to make the right decision. And therefore, Fletcher's not involved in a higher level anymore. Whatever Fletcher's role was going to be, it just needed to have clarity on it. Here's what it is. Did you see Antonio Conte's training jersey? I saw the players on their knees. Look like Spurs are getting absolutely whacked by him, which is not really too much of a surprise. Erik Ten Hag needs time to assess his captain. Until then, Harry for this game. Maybe he'll change his mind. Let's go there. Gary saying it's time to back Maguire or shut up. We've all criticised him, rightly so, but he'll never improve if he's slated day after day. Yeah, I'm not going to be the one leading that anymore. I was a leading voice in slating Maguire because I felt like at the time, and I stand by it, it was the correct thing to do. You can't just, we don't need to go back into that. New season, you want to go clean slates? Cool, clean slates. But Harry's got to buck up his ideas, man, because he's not really starting on a clean slate with the fans. because fans don't forget. As I said, it's a brand new clean slate for Erik Ten Hag. Hasn't managed him yet. We've seen Maguire for the last couple of years, certainly last year. And just like everybody else, his form just disappeared. One tip, you say Van der Beek instead of Van der Beek. Bake is how you say beak. Bake, beak, beak. Bake, bake. Van der Beek. How about Donny? I'll just say Donny. Easy as that. Nava, what are you saying? Quote me now. Sancho will be huge this season. And Rashford to score 15 plus this season. And Maguire to upgrade to a double door fridge with an ice dispenser. Don't forget about the ice dispenser. But look, if this is the team today, I'll be excited. I said this in my pre-match prediction video. The biggest thing that we want and need to see today is this, right? If you imagine last season, this yellow line would probably represent where Manchester United's defensive line was. We always sat quite deep on the edge of our own box. Erik Ten Hag will want that to be pulled up the pitch. And that's why I've got Tuanzebe and Lindelof there. He'll want the starting position of this Manchester United team to be much higher up the pitch, because by doing that, you make the rest of the pitch smaller. You make pressing easier because you've got to cover less ground, because your defenders are confident enough that they can step up. Because if the ball goes in behind, they've got the pace to cover it. All the fullbacks are there as well. And you're probably going to see maybe the average positions of Delo and Shaw more towards that. In an ideal world, when the Erik Ten Hag system is working, it probably looks more like that. Oh, shit. Accidental yellow circle. But yeah, that in particular, making sure that we're not sat and camped on the edge of our own box. Watch that today. I'd say that's going to be one of the big fundamentals. Of course, as well, is playing out from the back with the ball. Will we be able to play out from the back with the ball? Against Liverpool, of all teams as well. Talk about baptism of fire. But it is preseason. They won't be 100% as sharp. But that's going to be the big things. How deep our defensive line is. How good we are at playing out from the back with the ball. How well we play with triangles in just possession. Can we just hold the ball? Can we go for like 90 seconds today against Liverpool by just knocking the ball about? Just passing it into the gaps and making Liverpool run after us. Can we do that? I want to see that. And how will we be in the press? I can't imagine we're going to be that aggressive in the press today. I think it'll be more about the fundamentals behind it, because that aggressive press from the front really requires top-level fitness. So that will probably come with time. And you're saying, do you get the feeling from watching training that we are going back to being a counter-attacking team? I do. No. And in fact, I'll go quite literally the opposite. Erik Ten Hag, he will not be going to be a counter-attacking team. It's the opposite of what he wants to do. He wants control. And do you know how you control football games? You have the ball at your feet. That's how you control football. Ultimately, it's obvious. You need the ball. So no, I do not think we're going back to being a counter-attacking team in any way, shape or form. We'll have a counter-attack. You can't not have a counter-attack with a pace like that up front. But he will want that real control. And that's what we're going to be working towards. Everybody, you type your comments now to finish the stream. Type your predictions, and I'll read a few of your predictions out. I'll tell you what. What a couple of days, man. What a few days. Covering everything. It's exciting. But man, everyone's going to be knackered after. I'm going to be knackered after this, so I'm covering all of this. Navuai saying, regardless of the absolute shambles of the transfer window, I'm excited to see Ten Hag's style. First time since Sir Alex, I've been excited for a manager. I don't think it's going to be a shambles at the end of it. I've told you that before. I was excited about Mourinho because I hoped that Mourinho would, not be Mourinho, and he ended up being Mourinho. I was excited for Solskjaer because, what if? And I was excited for Rangnick because I can't deny that I was excited about Rangnick, and that didn't really work out, did it? But yeah, Ten Hag is different. It really is different with Ten Hag, and all these videos that I've covered have only sort of reaffirmed that idea in my head. It is going to be different under Erik Ten Hag, and that's why I think so anyway. But look, let me go down to the comments here. Let's bring the tactical board up and let's see what your predictions are for the game here today. Because I'll tell you what, there's going to be a lot of different predictions. Stefan, how you doing there, buddy? You're saying 3-2 to United. Trash, you're going 2-0 United. 5-1 United win. Or you got to stop drinking at these time. 7-2 to as Chirpy as always. 3-3 says Isaac. 2-1 says Phoenix. 2-1. 2-2. 4-4. So that everybody else, as if everybody's given a different score so far. Good. Absolutely nobody has any idea. I think the only The only things I would say, I would probably go for something like that. I would probably go for a score draw, probably a high scoring draw. I don't think this is going to be a game where there's going to be clean sheets. That'll be very surprising for either team. I think there'll be goals. I think there'll be mistakes, but I just want to see progress. Let's not get bogged down and focus on results here, people. And I will say this before the game and I'll say it after every single game. Even during the season, I will try and bring a level of patience to what we're seeing now, because I really think that this team and this manager will deserve it this season, because there will be big speed bumps. We will get trashed in some games, probably. Hopefully we don't, but I think you can probably expect it. Max, what are you saying about Shaw and Delo? Do you think Shaw and Delo are learning to drop back as fullbacks? They keep getting caught up out of position whenever they push forward, and they leave us in a very bad defensive position. No, not at all, Max, and that's exactly why he's brought in Tyrell Malacia. He wants his fullbacks to be as aggressive as possible, to be overlapping down here, but also to have the energy to recover. That's all it is. You can be the best modern day fullback in the world. You just got to be a supreme athlete. It's probably the hardest position in modern football, I think so anyway, because you have to offer so much going forward whilst also making sure you're never caught out of position. But again, that's why your defenders are there to cover you as well. Navio, thank you very much, buddy. You're going for 2-2. Best is we get a draw without a clean sheet. I don't know what's going to go on today. I'll tell you what, it's going to be a good game. We're all excited for it. I'll cover it with a match reaction after. But look, I'm going to wrap this one up for today. Got a few hours now to chill. I say chill. I might go to the gym. Maybe not. Maybe I'll just relax. We'll see. But make sure you drop a like on the video. As I said at the start, and I'll say one more time, there's two things I'd love for you to do. Number one, if you could, please go and listen to the podcast if you haven't already. Go over there, and if you have listened to it, please drop a review on it on Apple or Spotify. You can give a 5-star review anyway. It will really help. Make sure you do that. Shetan, the match reactions are never live. I always do my nice short 10, 15-minute match reaction that will go out as soon as I possibly can after the final whistle. And if there's any other major talking points, I'll do maybe a video later on today. If not, it'll be tomorrow morning. But look, let's enjoy the game today. I'm looking forward to it. You're looking forward to it. The Erik Ten Hag era is about to get started. And I am excited about it. Take it easy, everyone. And hopefully Martinez and De Jong. Yes, please.